Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Xeno, the personification of Cyber Help, and we are back with Silverstone. Now, in the last video, we didn't meet the group. We didn't meet the whole group yet. We only met Jake and Kelsey, who have a weird rocky history with each other for some reason. We don't know yet. But we had like a really weird dream sequence at the beginning with an inky jackal that said that he's going to hunt us down. I have no idea what that's about. But where we stopped off on, we stopped off at the place where we're going to finally meet the rest of the crew. Because so far we got Zeke, Jake, and Kelsey. Now we're meeting all these other guys. And I'm a bit excited to see where the story's going to lead us. So let's continue onward, shall we? I can't believe this is still the prologue. That's insane. Okay. I take a huge stretch as I exit the car, taking my phone out to double check the signal. Sure enough, still dead. Jake hops out of the SUV behind me and lets out a giant yawn, pulling out his own phone and squinted at it due to the sunlight. Despite the rather dour state of the town itself, the sky is a deep blue, and the sun is as bright as ever. The sun isn't enough to stop the cold air, though, and I let out an audible shiver as I try to warm myself up. Kelsey unties the jacket around her waist and slides it on before launching her cards down the town. A chameleon and a ferret, both older residents of the town, walk by us as we search for the pizza place. Excuse me, can you tell us where Giovanna's is? The chameleon turns to us for a brief moment and shoots me a sneer before the ferret grabs him to pick up the pace. Okay, bitch, it's not. Okay, you know what? The least you can do is help us out. It's not like you're 1 foot in the grave already. Didn't miss that. We continue to walk for a bit, though at this point I'm just taking in the sights of the town. Some buildings are near identical to the day we left, while others are shells of their former selves. I point at an old yellow building that's covered in graffiti and rotten wooden boards, its lawn overgrown with weeds and fungi. Didn't that used to be Miss Abernathy's house? Oh yeah, I forgot about her. Didn't she say after the Exodus? That's what my mom told me, but Miss Abernathy was already pretty old by then. I would be surprised if she was just going with the flow. She had a son, though, right? Jake just shrugs while Kelsey looks around the corner. Her face glows as she looks back at us. Found him! The cheetah disappears behind the hobby shop at the turn, and Jake follows suit. I shake my hands, anxious for the 6 of us to finally meet. Steeling myself, I join the two as we enter the tourist district of the town. There they are! Okay, first up. Smash, 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 all the way smash. Especially this guy. I'm really easy. Oh my god, guys, by the time these videos go up, Fat Bear Week has started. Just in time for Fat Bear Week! I'm so happy! It doesn't take long to identify them. The 3 are standing right under the sign up to the pizza place, which looks closed. Mason is vigorously tapping his foot as he holds his phone to his head. Jude is sitting on the sidewalk, reading a novel of some kind, while Silas is leaning up against Mason's truck. I told you there's no signal. They'll find us, though. I know, but... Before he can finish his sentence, my old stepbrother notices us coming their way. His trademark smile appears, and he almost drops his phone as he tries to put it in his pocket, running toward me specifically. It isn't even 5 seconds before I'm buried in a hug, his laughter filling the air as he catches me. I looked over his shoulder at Silence and June, who each have very different reactions. June's eyes widen, full of anxiety rather than joy. He pulls his beanie down a bit as if to avert his gaze. It only makes me question even more why he would come here. Silas has his own nervous look, but he looks more flustered than worried. As soon as he sees me looking at him, his eyes dart to the sidewalk and I can't help but laugh a bit. Mason finally releases me from his grasp, and gives Jake a high five before patting Kelsey's shoulder, which she reluctantly allows. Holy shit, you're actually here! The big dog laughs to himself, his tail wagging something fierce. The nervousness I had before melts away at the sight and I find myself joining in. Good to see you, man. Hey June, Silas! I turn back to the badger and the bear, hoping an introduction will break their worries down a little. Hey Zeke! The bear gives me a wave, and June pulls his beanie back up a bit. He looks up at me with a lot of guilt, but some happiness all the same. Hey. Did it take you long to find us? Not too long, actually. We arrived just a few minutes ago. How long have you all been here? Mason's smile quickly vanishes, turning into an annoyed grimace as he looks back to the pizza place behind him. A bit too long if you ask me. I don't know what voice to give him. A bit too long if you ask me. They're open. We've just been waiting here for a while. 30 minutes or less, my ass! Jake and I peer through the window, though I at least try to be sneakier about it. Sure enough, there are chefs inside making pizza. Well, one is smoking a cigarette on the line. My hunger dissipates just a little. I guess the open sign burned out or something. Mason's smile returns as his attention shifts back to the group, his hands firmly at his sides. We're heading back to the motel after the pizza's done? Whose room are we eating in? I don't want crumbs in my bed. That shit is nasty. Actually, I noticed there's a pool outside. It's not as cold there, and there's barely any more parts outside, so they probably won't mind if we eat there. I like a girl who lives dangerously, Kels. Mason's joke falls right on his face. June looks away in secondhand embarrassment, and I almost do the same. Before I can, however, the door to the pizzeria opens and a short Martin comes out with 2 pizza boxes. He shoves them into Mason's arms and Silas gives him what looks like 2 $20 bills. I shiver internally, but I guess it's hard making money in a town like this. Before anyone can say thanks to the Martin, he slams the door shut, leaving the 6 of us awkwardly standing in the middle of the sidewalk. Jake clears his throat, bringing the others and myself back down to reality. Should we go check in now? Yeah, we'll catch you all there. The drive back to the motel isn't nearly as bad as the drive to Silverstone. Although the road is just as bumpy as the waves are just as loud, I think the anxiety of arriving just got the better of me then. Mason, Silas, and June had already arrived by the time we get there. Unlike Kelsey, Mason is a more reckless driver. I see June fiddle with his phone as he sits halfway in the truck. My guess is that he's trying to log into the motel's Wi-Fi. We pull into the parking lot, and I lean inward as Kelsey stops on the uneven ground, a better spot than the one full of potholes next to us. By the time I step out of the car, I'm ready to get out of my clothes and crawl into bed. The sun still shines bright, but I'm dead tired from the trip. Mason bounces up to us with glee in his eyes. He slaps his hand on my shoulder a bit too hard and points over to the reception. How about you, Jake, and I get everyone checked in while the others unload the stuff? I glance at June, who seems just as confused as I am. Didn't June help make the reservation, though? I don't mind unloading some stuff. Mason's ears droop, and he gives me those pitiful eyes he used on me as a kid when he wanted something. Before he's able to trap me in guilt, June walks on over and hands Mason his cell phone. It's fine, Zeke. I can handle a few bags. The badger's expression is still depressed, and I can't help but feel bad as he walks away. Mason pulls me away from my thoughts as he grasps my hand and practically yanks me into the building. Any harder, and I swear that he will dislocate my arm. Come on, let's check in so we can eat! I can't help but smile, however, once to see my baby brother's exuberance shine through for the first time in a long while. The reception desk is a stark contrast from the outside. The light above us is barely hitting on, and somehow there are more buds inside than on the pavement. I almost shudder just thinking about how dirty our beds could be, but stop myself short once I see the rat run the desk. The middle manager outfit sends alarm bells ringing in my head, but he doesn't seem to notice us at first, his nose buried deep in his newspaper. I want to dip out while I still can, but Mason has already reached the front desk before Jake can even enter the building. The raccoon's expression is just as unimpressed and wary as me, as if he's thinking about whether he should go out until the others were seen somewhere else. Mason's booming voice seals our fate, however. Hey, we're here to check in. Jacob Riley and... Kyun Junyun? The dog's face contorts as he struggles to say June's name as if it were his own. As the rat looks up at Mason, I swear I see a slime glide across his yellow eyes as they move. Jake looks down at his cigarette for a second in disgust before taking another puff. I contemplate banning it out of his hand. The rat sits up, folding his newspaper with a monumental sigh. He looks at the email on June's phone before beckoning Jake over. Yeah, I saw your friend out there. As the rat brings up the reservations on the computer, he turns his attention to me. Never met a quiet one of you before. Sorry? The rat hands the keys to Mason and Jake before returning to his newspaper, lighting another cigarette as he slouches in his chair. Your kind is usually loud as shit. The three of us stand there with varying emotions. Mason looks mostly confused, his arms crossed as he plays with the room keys. Jake actually looks pissed, as if he's about to punch the guy right in the throat. Oh, damn. I let out a small laugh before uncomfortably shuffling my way out of the reception. My eyes descend to the ground as I walk out into the parking lot, anxiously toying with my necklace. I nearly bump into Silas before he stops me in my tracks. The bear is somehow carrying 2 suitcases as well as a backpack on his own. Whoa, you alright? The bear's voice is soft and quiet. It's almost comical when you actually take a look at the guy. I take his hands off of me and shove my own into my pockets, try not to let my anxiety show. It's nothing, no need to worry. The owner is a racist prick. Jake comes stopping behind me, throwing his cigarette to the ground and taking his anger out on it. Your kind, I want to vomit. It's fine, Jake. We'll barely see him anyway. The raccoon doesn't meet my gaze. He's practically fuming from the rat's remarks. Although I'm happy he's coming to my defense, the one thing I didn't miss about Jake was his temper. Just come to me if he does cause any problems, okay? Like you to him, Silas. Silas blushes before turning away and walking off to one of the motel doors. Although he's the biggest out of all of us, Kelsey is right. He's never been one to resort to violence. Yet, the sentiment cheers me up a little, though, imagining the big lug trying to dead the rat. Mason finally joins us, massaging the back of his neck. It's a bit hard to tell, but I can see his fur is a bit damp from sweat. So, how are we divvying up the rooms? It seems like he's just going to avoid the topic. Probably the best for now. June's appearance nearly makes me jump as he comes out from behind the other side of the truck. He puts his phone out of Mason's hand before he points at the luggage. Your stuff is with Zeke and Jake's. Kelsey, Silas, and I will be next door if you need us. Kelsey's nose scrunches up for a moment before she walks over to the trio's room to put her badge away. Jake taps his finger on my shoulder. He's noticeably calmer, but not by much. The new cigarette he's holding is probably doing the trick. Let's check out the pool, man. Before I can even answer, the raccoon has already collected one of the pizzas and is heading off towards the gate. What, Jake? I end up grabbing the other pizza box as I run, my feet propelling me to the pool. God, I want to fucking sleep. That's so me for real. I stare at a torn off piece of moldy crust as I let my feet soak in the water. June, who's standing next to me, looks at his own slice of pizza before setting it down on one of the tables nearby. Jade and Mason ate their slices no problem, but it's amusing to see Kelsey and Silas struggle on what parts they think are safe to eat. Water splashes on my shorts as June rolls his pants up and sits by the pool as well. Shit, The badger lets down, almost afraid. The old June would have dredged me even more. It's strange seeing this version of him. It's okay, it's just water. Oh. June kisses his feet a little, but not enough to make any huge ripples in the water. My eyes wander from his guilty expression down to his chest. Confusion strikes me at how I didn't see it before, but June's old cross necklace is gone. He had been inseparable from it as a kid, so I have no idea how I didn't notice. Hey, what happened to your necklace? June's eyes don't blink for a second before he turns to me. His gaze briefly returns to the watery abyss, but he finally answers with a deep sigh. I stopped attending church after we left. Oh? Mm-hmm. An uncomfortable silence lingers between us. Not even the other's laughter helps to fill the void left by the topic. I debate whether pressing further will help the awkward air or make it worse. Any particular reason? This time, June looks at me like I'm the different person in the room. He stretches under his beanie before getting out of the water and grabbing a towel. You really don't remember what happened that last day? No, the last week. Why? Mason! Please go the fuck away. I need to hear this. Mason bounds in on the conversation. but not before I catch a brief glimpse of what appears to be fear on June's face. Strange. Hey, what you guys talking about? Nothing. We just weren't hungry. I guess I just fucked up on that front. I made a note to myself to not talk about religion in front of June again. Well, the sun doesn't go down for a few more hours. What should we do until then? I'm about to say I want to retire for the day, but pull myself back. I don't want to be a spoil sport on the first day we meet again. If you guys want, we could familiarize ourselves with the town a bit. That might be a good idea, actually. That way we won't run around in circles the whole time and can plan accordingly. We should also stock up on some food while we're at it, I guess. Jake throws his hand up into the air from across the pool, grabbing another slice of pizza. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Silas just nods as he leans on one of the tables. He looks like he's about to fall asleep too. I feel kinda bad, unintentionally throwing him under the bus like that. I forgot how weak his stomach could be. He becomes alert when Mason creates a gigantic clap though. The dog rubs his arms around June, almost pulling the badger off his feet. Well, I guess it's settled then. Aww. Wait, that's so cute. Oh my god. Silas looks so adorable. Dry off, everyone. It's time to go home. That was cheesy as fuck, man. Aw, let him have fun. This is the first time we've seen each other in a while. Mason, I'm going to slip. Let me go get my bag first. I want to take some pictures. I stare at the chaos unfolded before me, and I can't help but join in a laugh. This is the first time on this trip that we feel like a unit. I don't have to worry about Kelsey and Jade's petty drama, Mace's unintentional clinginess, or my own anxieties. I would even say that this group is the same group of friends from all the way back in 2002, just a bit more grown up. I finally take my legs out of the water and dry them off with a towel, all the while wishing that this mode would last throughout the rest of the trip. Chapter 1. Reunion. Did I say reunion? Say reunion? I haven't been speaking very well. I don't know what's up. Predictably, the ride back to Silverstone is much more strenuous with Mason behind the wheel. My nails dig into the armrest with each bump in the road, but the dog still wears that goofy smile on his face. The sunlight glints off his teeth. His smile is a bit too bright, if you ask me. Meanwhile, Jake hangs on for dear life in the back. We stuffed him there by default due to lack of space. The truck has no room compared to Kelsey's SUV. I winced just thinking about Silas or June being stuck back there earlier. Mason looks up at the raccoon in the rearview mirror, tapping his fingers rhythmically on the rail. So, what happened? Jake sits upright in the middle, etched in his slouch. He seems just as confused as I am about the question, but I have a hunch about where it's heading. What you mean? You and Kelsey! The dog shrugs his shoulders in an awkward fashion, and I can see sweat start to break on his forehead. For being such a sociable person, Mason is terrible at reading the room. Jake returns to his slumped position, his face moving from irritated to downright pissed. She just seemed a bit upset about the rooms is all. Man, I don't want to fucking talk about it. What happened between Kelsey and me is between us. I can't accept that, Jake, but... The raccoon raises an eyebrow as he waits for me to go on. He doesn't look mad anymore, but his expression is hard to read. I feel scared that I'll misstep again like I did with June. This does affect us all, you know. Not really. I put my head in my hands, frustrated at my own vagueness. A bump in the road caused me to almost crush my nose, and I let out a small whimper. Hey, you alright? Yeah. Look, what I mean is, if this isn't addressed, something is gonna happen. I want to enjoy this weekend. Can't you two talk it out or something? Jake is silent for a moment, so I look in the mirror. I expect to see him pouting like a small kid who didn't get the toy he wanted for Christmas. To my surprise, however, Jake only looks a bit sullen. He pulls out his phone and taps away at the screen before he slips it back in his pocket with irritation. My guess is that the bad signal is culprit here. I'll try to talk to her tonight. Cool. Thanks, man. I reached back to try to pat his shoulder to comfort him, but I accidentally hit his hand instead. Hey! Sorry! It's chill. The rest of the ride goes by as smooth as it didn't get, with the bumps and all. This time, my gut churns at the sight of our old neighborhood. Desolate is the only word that comes to mind when I look at my old house. The decrepit appearance even wipes a smile off Mason's face when he finally looks up from shutting the door. It doesn't help that clouds have started to obscure the sun that was so present on the drive back here. Hey, a little help? Jake waves his hand in my direction, his body stuck in between the seats. Oh shit, sorry. I gently push the raccoon back into his seat before I pull the lever to slide me on forward. Jake pushes his way out, letting in a huge breath as if he wasn't able to breathe. Ugh, thanks, man. Jake unexpectedly gives me a hug before he stops himself short. He tilts his head down as he follows Mason over to the others, who had already arrived in Kelsey's SUV. Silas and Kelsey are clawing at their arms, the cheetah noticeably shivering even with her jacket on. I join the others, patting June's shoulder as I arrive. The badger jumps before looking back at me nervously. Is it just me, or is it unusually cold? I rub my arm, trying to warm it up. The fact that even Silas is struggling to keep warm is a strange sign. Yeah, it's freezing. I don't remember it ever getting this chilly when we lived here. Global warming, maybe? It's the middle of summer, Mason. If anything, it'd be warmer. Still, your house. Our attention turns back to the building, dilapidated from years of wear and tear. I can remember Mason and I running through the sprinklers there like it was yesterday. Of course, I can't forget Dad teaching Mason how to ride a bike in the street, and Mason needing to go to the dentist afterward. Now our home is just a shell of its former self. A body full of bones, but no organs to help it run. I guess we should have expected this, but it's still weird seeing it broken down like this. We'll always have the memories, though, right? I tried to ignore the poor choice of words. Silas chimes in, distracting us from the awkward situation. They just saw my house down the street earlier. I almost want to protest to save ourselves from another depressing visit. Still, I can't help but think about why Silas would want to check out his own rundown home. I guess we could check it out. Are you going to be okay? It looked fine when we drove past it. Well, if it's okay with everyone else. Despite my reservations, I climb up. The others just nod in agreement. I suppose everyone feels like this whole thing is a sensitive subject we have to tiptoe around. Okay, it's not too far down if you guys remember. Thankfully I do. Silas would always walk to our place after school, sometimes bringing games over. I think I'd cry if I forgot where my friends lived. I walk alongside June as we make a turn closer to the resort part of Silverstone. The badger seems incredibly on edge, grasping the sleeves of his hoodie tight. There's a pause in the air as we walk. Mason distracts Jake, and Silas counts the houses as he searches for his. Not wanting to startle June, I lean over and whisper, avoiding any physical contact. Hey, you alright? No. Well, yes, but, it's just... I wait for him to continue, but the badger stops next to a putrid yellow house that I remember Jake throwing eggs at once. June motions me to lean forward, and he cups his hand around my ear. Why is the town so quiet? Is that all? I speak a bit too loudly, as the others turn to face us. It doesn't seem to be interesting enough to draw them from their conversations, though. I mean, there was an Exodus 15 years ago. It's not surprising that the town is so dead. I just see June's fingers shuffle around in his pocket and hear the sound of change rubbing against each other. I guess you're right. It's just creepy, that's all. The badger looks down, embarrassed, and I can't help but scream internally at myself. Somehow I did it again! I mean, yeah, it's creepy. I think I'm just not as affected by these things, maybe. June appears to brighten up a bit at that. A small smile cracking on his face. It's strange. The old June smile looked natural and constant. This one, though, resembles that of a mask, and all I can do is think about whether it's fake or not. My thoughts are interrupted by a loud yell ringing through the air. It seems I'm not the only one affected, as June's eyes widen. We found it! June calms down a bit, but I can still see the badger shaking a little. Guess we better go to them? Yeah. The others are gathered in front of a familiar yet different house. I'm shocked that Silas was able to recognize it, considering the new paint job. Sure enough, it's his old home. Unlike mine, their house is well maintained, minus some botched gardening. I would not have chosen that color. Jake lets out a small chuckle at her statement, but I think everyone agrees with her. The disgusting yellow that's mixing with the color that the previous owner chose doesn't compare to the sky blue Silas's dad had painted before either of the other owners. Silas's expression isn't one of nostalgia, though. It's full of sadness and melancholy. I can't understand why. I suppose he expected to get some closure by seeing the house, but not everything can heal past wounds. Also, I've been noticing this when I've been reading this, is that there's like no music whatsoever. There's like no music. It's like so eerily quiet. Which is funny because considering June just mentioned that why is it so awfully quiet in town? I think it adds to the creepiness factor of this place. Woo! I decided to intervene before things get more depressing. Is there anywhere else we want to go while we're here? Kelsey's face turns dark and she crosses her arms tight. Jake looks away from me, giving me a shrug as he kicks a stone in the middle of the street. I don't have anyone I want to see. Same. I'd rather head to the resort. June looks unsure about what he wants to do. And for once, so does Mason. The dog's face is dressed in discomfort, probably at the fact that instead of a fun stroll through memory lane, we're all standing awkwardly as nostalgia punches us in the gut. I walk over to Silas, rubbing his shoulder as he continues to stare at the house. He's relatively composed until he looks down at me, which is when he jumps in surprise. His attention wasn't in the conversation at hand, causing him to flail and bat my arm like a spotted bird into his fur. Sorry, just want to check on you. The bear looks down, his ears flushing a deep red. He stretches where I place my hand on him, with a look of comfort yet confusion. It's okay. Nothing I can handle. You sure? There's a moment of silence between us as the bear searches inside his head. The others look a bit more impatient than before, almost uncomfortable. Yeah, I'll be good. Somehow I highly doubt that. Jade steps in, patting us both on the back and trying to put on a happy smile. Come on, let's head on over to the resort. The raccoon pulls us along before Silence or I can get a word in. I'm beginning to get annoyed about being everyone's toy to pull around. Still, I would rather be anywhere than this boulevard of shattered dreams, especially when I notice an old couple eyeing us with disdain. Just once, I would like to run into someone else our age in this town. Chills run through my body when we arrive at the tourist trap part of the town. It's uncanny how everything is identical to my dream. The only noticeable difference is the cliff far off. Sure enough, no lighthouse sits on it. Just an empty field of nothing. This place has really been let go. I notice the sadness in Kelsey's face as she observes the nearly empty streets, and I can't help but think about how predictable this all is. Yeesh, I thought things would be bad, but I didn't think it'd be this bad, you know? Mason dismissed the phone booth that I used in my dream, his ears and tail falling. Even the door being broken is accurate to my dream. Although Mason makes quick work of it faster than I did. Jake snickers in the background while Kelsey frowns with disapproval at my brother. He carefully puts the door back in place, leaving his hands out in case it falls over. He wears a sheepish smile as he saunters back over to us, his hand rubbing the back of his head in embarrassment. June and Silas don't seem to have noticed commotion. The two are instead looking at the old shops. The badger, in particular, eyes a sea salt ice cream parlor, fitted with rainbow poles and all. Of course, Jake notices his curiosity and seizes the opportunity. Anyone wants some ice cream? I'm paying. I'm good, actually. My appetite is kind of gone at the moment. Kelsey's slightly embittered tone makes me remember the text Jake attempted to send to her. The raccoon's nose scrunches before he turns to Mason. I'm good too, actually. Hits my dairy limit for the day. You're lactose intolerant now? Just a bit, but too much still makes me sick. Silas and June, however, seem to be up for a cone or two. June brings his own wallet before handing in himself. He never did like to depend on others, I guess. True. I'll take you up on your offer, though, Jake. Same. I want to save some money for souvenirs. I'm reminded of how expensive a towel in my dream was, if that was anything to go by in reality. If we can afford them. The raccoon lets his fang hang out as he smiles, before turning to the big bear next to him. It's assuming to watch him look up at Silas now. Anything you want in particular? I'm fine with vanilla or strawberry. Jake tilts his head, unimpressed with the bear's decision. Why'd you go for the boring flavors, man? We're on vacation. Be a little adventurous, yeah? Silas grips the handle of his back. I remember him choosing all the wild flavors as a kid, now that I think about it. I guess at some point he got a little burnt out on cotton candy and strawberry Rocky Road Gummy Bear Deluxe type stuff. Well, what are you getting? Peanut butter and jelly. That's not that adventurous either, to be honest. Is too. The raccoon finally turns to me. I realize I haven't made a decision yet, too entertained by the two bickering. What about you, man? What's your pick? Wait, what do I do? You know what? I've been in an adventurous mood lately. I like trying new things. How about you choose one for me? Any flavor. Jake gets a mischievous glint in his eyes as all of his attention focuses on me. I start to regret my decision, but I'm not going to let a little apprehension win me over. Any flavor? No restrictions? Go wild, man. Okay, then I'll be right back. No roughhousing while I'm gone. June exits the shop right as Jake enters, the raccoon almost knocking the cone out of the poor badger's hand. Still, June looks satisfied with his ice cream, though it's a bit tough to make out what flavor it is. I could guess that it's too yellow to be vanilla. It's probably banana flavor. But not yellow enough to be a lemon. What flavor did you get? What the fuck you mean? What? I'm gonna look this shit up. Hold up. Sweet corn ice cream. Is that a thing? You gotta be fucking kidding me. No fucking way. Sweet corn. Huh? Sweet corn. Try it, you'll like it. I want to decline, but the melted cream all over June's nose takes the word no out of my vocabulary. Why did that take the word no out of your vocabulary? What's wrong with you, Zeke? I take a small lick, and Silas does the same. Well? The badger looks at us expectantly, but there's not much to really talk about with it. It sure tastes like corn. Silas turns to me as June returns to his ice cream, appreciating it much more than us peasants ever could. You really trust Jay to not fuck you over on this? I'm getting ice cream either way. It can't be that bad. As if on cue, Jay comes out of the ice cream shop. He somehow manages to hold 3 cones in his hands. He hands the bear his strawberry one, with a bit of peanut butter and jelly smeared across it. He then hands me my share. It's a scoop of white ice cream with blue specks and a red streak across it. Is this American ice cream? America! My pronouns are USA. Ah! I can feel the fur stick up on the back of my neck before I even attempt to lick the ice cream. Jake's grin is wide, and I'm starting to wonder if Silas was onto something. Jake, what flavor is this? You did not just give me blue cheese and pomegranate. You did not just give me blue cheese and pomegranate. Fuck off. What? Blue cheese and pomegranates. What the fuck, Jake? Jake cackles before taking another bite into his ice cream. Silas looks at me with a raised eyebrow, as if to say, I told you so. I generally consider throwing the cone away as the nausea from earlier begins to creep back up. Hey guys, come check this out! The four of us take our attention off of our food and on Kelsey and my brother. Mason waves from across the street further down, beckoning us to come this way. When we arrive next to the duo, I see Mason kneeling by the pavement at a street corner. He grabs me and pulls me to his side, my ice cream almost smearing against his shirt before I catch my footing. Kelsey is further from the sidewalk, but she looks just as happy as Mason. The only thing that makes the dog stand out beside his height is the cheetah crossing her arms. She points down with her eyes when I look at her, drawing my attention to what both of them are beaming at. Then I notice it. Is that their little handprints they made? 6 pairs of hands are imprinted into the concrete, each of varying sizes and species. It doesn't take long to remember when this happened. I didn't think this would still be here. Yeah, the sidewalk's a bit shit. I would have thought they had torn us up already. I still remember that old man letting us put our hands in. We kind of had Silas to thank for that. You fell off your bike trying to stop, right? Silas lets out a loud sigh, his face red with embarrassment. I didn't think he would have held onto memories in that way. Hey, you were a kid. Plus, they didn't really put up signs or anything. The bear takes his phone out of his bag, unputting it from his charger. He worms his way through to get us a clear shot of the handprints. Remind me to send this to the group chat later, just in case it does get torn up. I flash a toothy grin at the bear before patting him on the back. He looks caught off guard, but he chuckles nonetheless. It's not a big deal. The gesture is broken off by Mason barreling his way in between us as he steps onto the sidewalk. Not on the hands, thankfully. Well, since we're at the turn, do you guys want to just head down this way? I don't see why not. I guess it's okay. Jude's voice is low, and I have to put my ears up to hear him. I step onto the sidewalk as well when we begin to stroll. However, my ankle buckles within 5 steps on the uneven concrete. Fuck! I clench my eyes shut as I spin backwards to the ground. How the fuck did you do that? The fear is worse than the actual fall. My heart races a million miles an hour, but my head is thankfully met with grass and mud instead of the sidewalk. My ankle throbs a bit, but I can tell it isn't twisted or sprained, just put through the ringer from my foot folding on its side. Shit, Zeke, you okay? I'm dazed, that's for sure. Probably from the shock of it, and not actually from hitting my head. I slowly open my eyes. The sun blinds me for a second before a large structure comes into view, like a camera focusing on its subject. The recognition comes in slightly delayed. Maybe it's because of the sun, or because I was still sitting on my ass, but the giant cross is unmistakable. It's a part of the old church that June's family and mine used to attend when we lived here. The throbbing that was just a dull drummel in my head grows in intensity when I sit up. Mason brushes grass and dirt off of the back of my head, unintentionally making the headache worse. The church has definitely seen better days. I can see newspapers piled up inside, next to the windows, and the lawn hasn't been mowed in a long time. If I didn't know any better, I would say that the paint job on the outside is the same from 15 years ago. Strips of color peel and curl away off. Some are even chipped away. Despite the pain echoing in my skull, I'm more shocked by the state of the roof. It's covered in a thick layer of moss and branches from years of neglect. Hey, you okay? Shit hurts, but I'll live. I turn my attention back to the church, which Jake waves off. He sneers as he pulls me to my feet. My ankle protests as I stand up, intensifying the pain. It's nothing major. Oh yeah, this place. I'm honestly not surprised it's this rundown. The rumors about it got really bad toward the end. There were weird rumors too. Went from the typical pedophile shit to satanic cold bullcrap pretty fast. Even I thought they were hard to believe at times. I don't know how you three still managed to go there. Can you shut the fuck up? The badger's hostility stuns us into silence. I completely forgot about June in this whirlwind of chaos. June bears his fangs before grabbing his head. He turns away from the church, and what I assume is frustration. Sorry, my head just really hurts. It's cool, man. I was saying some nasty shit. I think I'm going to hang down in the car. I'm just really not feeling well. June starts to walk past me, almost wobbling with each step. He looks pale in the face, almost as if he's going to vomit. Just go rest, okay? I make sure to whisper so as to not exasperate his headache. The night he gives me is weak, and I can tell by his glazed eyes just how out of it he is. To be honest, it might be bad for Zeke to stay out as well. What? I feel fine. Zeke, you hit your head pretty hard and you almost rolled your ankle. That kind of stuff isn't a joke. I hit my head on the lawn and I'll be fine. I try to take a step to demonstrate, but Kelsey's point is proven immediately. No pain courses through me, but I definitely feel pressure near my foot. I nearly fall again, but Jake manages to catch me in time. The usual tough guy persona on his face falls as he looks at me. Yeah, I'm with Kelsey. We've seen most of the town anyway, so it's fine to head back. Sal's nods in agreement while Mason runs on over to me, offering me his shoulder to lean on. Jade does the same, and I can feel in my gut that this won't turn out well. Kelsey runs over to June, rubbing his back as they walk. She turns over to us, raising her fingers with her car keys dangling. We'll catch up later, okay? Maybe if June feels better, we can watch a movie. Salas reluctantly jogs over to the two, waving goodbye to us as he catches up. So what's up with that church? Okay, so the church has a... Okay, so what they said was the church had a mass... Well, the town itself had a mass exodus 15 years ago. So something happened in this town that caused a good chunk of people to move out of Silverstone. All of them included. But we really don't know. And that's why the residents are particularly a lot of older people. They're probably like really old residents that decided to stay. Something's up. I'm not sure. Although it doesn't take long to reach Mason's truck, each step feels like an eternity to me. The image of the church is plastered into my mind, unwilling to leave. I can't help but feel like my insides are about to spill out. My spit tastes like metal as Mason helps me up into my seat. Jake pats my shoulder to check if I'm okay. As the ignition starts, I close my eyes, hoping that not seeing the open road will prevent me from actually throwing up on the dashboard. Of course, all this does is make me focus on my stomach acid jostling. I didn't realize such a minor bump on my head could make me feel this shitty. It only feels like 5 minutes later when Mason parts, thankfully. My brother secures me around his shoulder before I even step foot on the pavement. I finally open my eyes, but everything is foggy. Dizziness washes over me as Jake closes the truck door and grabs my other side. The voices are distant and muffled as if water is swirling in my ears. Even trying to read their lips is hard to do with my blurred vision. Entering the motel room is a nightmare. Hues of brown, red, and white mix together as the two bring me over to one of the beds. The cold mattress and pillows offer small relief. Even relaxing slightly causes my jaw to slack. Unfortunately, letting spit dribble out of my mouth. Mason throws the covers over me as my eyes once again begin to shut. They dim the lights in silence, though I can hear some noises coming from Jade's phone. Despite the discomfort in my head and stomach, it doesn't take long at all for me to fall back to sleep. The thoughts flood my mind, full of guilt. So, this is how I'm spending the rest of the first day. I did get what I wanted in the end, I suppose, but this is not how I wanted it to happen. Still, as my body finally relaxes, the world around me melts away, the harsh reality faded into a gentle lull of sleep. Oh my god, am I back with the guy again? Dread overwhelms me as my eyes open. I'm frozen in my seat as I stare at the chair across from me. After internally sobbing at the lack of actual peace, I look around my surroundings. Sure enough, it's the same room from last night. The stranger from before seems to have been busy, as more papers are scattered across the floor. They seem to be covered in a foreign script. I flicker a light in the kitchen and the smell of mint is enough to awaken me, and I attempt to leave my chair. I feel straps pull me back, however. I glance over my hands in confusion. I attempt to slip my arms out of the restraints, but the straps tighten around my wrist to the point it hurts to try. I take my legs out as I tug at them, trying to avoid the coffee table in front of me. I'm panicking hard enough to make my foot bang against it, though. While I'm stuck in my fervor of attempting to escape, the jackal emerges from the kitchen. So you're finally in my domain, Ezekiel. The fiend sips their tea from an elegant piece of china before they part their ass in the chair across from me. Their eyes glow with malice, and I fear that this time, my exit will be worse than a spiraling chasm of nausea. Oh, don't worry. I'll let you have a little more fun with your friends. After all, it isn't time for the event to begin. Events? Wait, what are you talking about? The jackal growls unimpressed, and I can't help but feel like they're about to throw that cup of peppermint tea right into my face. Seeing the town did nothing for your memory, did it? No, not really. Pity. I wait for them to continue, but they instead stir the leaves in their teacup. The clinking of the spoon hitting the china reverberates around the room with a sharp cut. The jackal places the cup before me, and, to my shock, the tea has vanished from it. Only clumps of wet tea leaves sit in its place. I studied the art of topography many moons ago. They point to a small batch of leaves along the right side of the bottom of the cup. The shape looks like strictly nonsense to my brain. They look like waves, don't they? Of course, Silverstone is a coastal town, so that's not surprising to see. The figure glides to a pair of clumps that almost look like lunch to me. It reminds me of when I almost drowned here last night. This represents the moon, but also introspection. From what you said, it seems you have a lot of that to do. The last shape they point out is unmistakable. A chain. It represents the fact that a series of events is about to occur to you. Their outcome, in your hands. The jackal finally looks up from the cup, the shadowy expression almost looking bored. When our eyes meet again, a burning aggression courses through me as if it's searching for something. The stranger undoes the straps on my wrists, but they then push my head against the backboard of the chair. My fur is matted down from the pressure, and I instinctively rub it back up in a sloppy manner. The next time we meet, Ezekiel, that series of events will have already started. You may get pulled into this realm again before it happens, but you will not see me until the assimilation begins. Assimilation? Wait, what do you mean? Everything suddenly goes silent and dark. The feeling of plunging deep into the dark comes back, and I fear it's about to swallow me whole. And we're back. And I believe this is where we're gonna leave off on for today. So this is really interesting. I'm wondering about this. I'm wondering about that stranger guy. What's his deal and what's his game? And what are the events that are going to occur? Why doesn't Jake know anything about what occurred at this town, even though he lived here? How come he doesn't remember anything that happened during the mass exodus? And nothing's jogged in his memory. That's so weird. Why is Silas so fucking hot? And I guess just talking about that church really made June angry. Okay, so the church is involved in this mass exodus, I'm certain of it. I guess I'll find out in the next part, but in the meantime, thank you all so much for clicking on this video. If you enjoyed it, you can give it a like, and subscribe if you're really interested. I'll leave a link to the visual novel in the description below if you want to go read it for yourself, and I'll also leave links to my Blue Sky if you want to support me on that platform. And as always, I'll be leaving a link to the visual novel me and my good friend Zeta Red Panda made for the February Game Jam called When You're Mine. Please don't show your support to it. If you do enjoy it, maybe consider rating it and commenting on it on itchio. We love reading those, it makes our day. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!